Hi guys, James at RampantLionReviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to head over the Øresund once again to Copenhagen in Denmark, and we're going to revisit one of my favourite Danish craft breweries. But when I was prepping for this review, I checked when my last one from them was. It was over 2 years ago that I actually reviewed my last beer from this brewery, and I couldn't believe it, to be honest with you, because I really do love their beers, and I definitely won't be leaving 2 years until the next review from them. So for the first time in 2 years we are going to return to Toriel, which literally in English means two beers. So this is the Two Beer Brewery from Copenhagen in Denmark, and we're going to have a taste of the Dangerously Close to Stupid. So this is a West Coast double IPA coming in at 9.3% ABV, and this is one of their kind of core range beers, if you can call it that. This is one that they brew very regularly, and it's one that I've wanted to try for quite some time actually, but I've just never ever got around to this one. I've never seen it actually to be able to review it. So really looking forward to this one, and as always I hope you guys enjoy my take on this beer. I'm really excited to try this one because I know that it's supposed to be very good. I don't think I've even tried this on tap years ago, and I don't think I've tried this one at all, so hopefully this will be a really nice beer, but I've heard very good things about it, like I said. So anyway, as is usual with my reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery. If you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other reviews that I've done from Toriel before. Hopefully I can add some more in the fairly near future. I definitely won't be leaving it 2 years. There's all the usual social media. If you want to see more beer reviews, do please consider subscribing to the channel. The whole channel, of course, has a geography-based tagging system, so you can go into the homepage and search for beer based on country, city, state, county, prefecture, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlists of beers from different countries. There is one there for all the Danish beers that I've reviewed for you. That's constantly being added to, and as always, please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review. It's always great to hear from you guys that are watching the videos, and the support that you show the channel is hugely appreciated. So anyway, to tell you a little bit about Toriel then before we open up the beer. So Toriel, as I've told you before, was founded by Tobias Emil Jensen and Tore Gainter, who were students of Mikael Bjergsø, the big boss of Mikeller. He used to be a physics and maths teacher, a little bit like me, although I teach chemistry as well, but originally they brewed with him in their school kitchens back in 2005, and they continued to homebrew until 2010 when they officially founded Toriel, which, as I mentioned earlier, literally translates into English as two beers. But when Mikael heard that his former students were still brewing, he insisted that they do a collaboration brew, and this became the very first commercial Toriel beer, and this was the double IPA. But despite their short existence, they've gained, much acclaim in craft beer worlds, and I have to admit, these guys were my favourite Danish craft brewery for quite some time actually. I still hold them in very high regard, but they now distribute their beers to somewhere in the region of 40 countries. They're not so easy to find in the UK these days though, from what I remember. The guys in England, I don't see them reviewing too many of these, and in Scotland you could get some of them, but it was far easier to get a hold of some of the different Mikeller things, of course, though. But as was the case with Mikeller originally, these guys are a gypsy brewery, so they don't own their own equipment, and they use the spare capacity at other breweries for the most part. Most of their beer is actually brewed at the De Proef Brewery in Locriste Heefte, just outside of Ghent in Belgium. But in Nuremberg in Copenhagen, they've got their collaborative beer bar with Mikeller, which is called Mikeller and Friends, and this bar has a bottle shop with it, of course, too, and you've got 40 different tap beers. I don't think I've actually been to Mikeller and Friends before. I've been to the other Mikeller bars, but never Mikeller and Friends. But they also have the Bruce bar in Copenhagen now as well, where they brew some exclusive beers on the small scale, and there's a second Bruce bar up in Oslo in Norway now as well. But they're co-owners in Mikeller and all the Mikeller and Friends venues, so they have a share in the bottle shop in Torvehallen, which is the big food hall in Copenhagen. That's definitely worth checking out if you go there, because you'll get some really interesting stuff. And there's also another Mikeller and Friends bar in Reykjavik in Iceland as well, and they're also co-owners in the Kulship bar and the Micropolis bar as well, which I've never been to either. So there's so many craft beer bars in Copenhagen that I've not managed to check out all of them yet. I've checked out a fair few and some of the really good ones, but there are a good few that I still need to go and visit at some point, because it's just, there's so many that it's very difficult to get around to visiting all of them. So yeah, definitely some kind of pilgrimage is needed to go around all of these in the fairly near future. But yeah, a really good Danish craft brewery, this one, a gypsy brewery, and they are brewing some of their own stuff at their bar, in their Bruce bar in Copenhagen too. As I've said to you many a times, Copenhagen, in my opinion, is the best craft beer city in the world at the moment, but Gothenburg here in Sweden is also doing some some really interesting stuff. But I know Copenhagen was where a lot of things started off, and I know there are other cities really starting to kick it up now as well. But yeah, that's all you really need to know about Toriel for the moment. If you want to learn a little bit more, of course, you can follow them on Facebook and Instagram. That'll keep you up to date with all the latest goings on, and you can check out Untappd and Rate Beer and stuff like that to get a list of all the different beers that they've done. But these guys are pretty damn prolific, I have to say. But yeah, let's get on to the actual tasting of this beer itself then. So as I mentioned to you earlier, this one is a 9.3% double IPA. It was released a good few years ago, this, so it is a West Coast double IPA, and it's hopped with Centennial, Citra, and it has a malt base of melanoidin and Pilsner malt as well. So it should be a really, really interesting one, this. It's very highly rated on Rate Beer. I think it had a 98 overall, and it was rated well into the 4 stars on Untappd as well. But yeah, let's get the brewery notes away and we can open up this beer. One thing I will say as well is that I ordered this beer from Glasbanken.se, and I've seen them advertising a lot on Facebook. Of course, my cookies will be flashing up all these beer things because I'm a professional alcoholic. But you know, I ordered. They've only ever had 3 or 4 beers that I've been interested in at one time, but I ordered 10, and it was a pretty good service. They've got their warehouse over in Copenhagen, and then they import the beers into Sweden, so they're kind of getting around the laws that way, if you like, which is quite interesting. So yeah, check them out. I'll put the link to them in the video description below. You'll see these 10 beers reviewed over the next little while on the channel, and we'll see if we'll do some reviews from them over the next little while, because it is a little bit more expensive, but you do get some beers that you wouldn't find otherwise, some Swedish breweries that otherwise you can't get here in Sweden and through Systembolaget yet. But there you can see, this is the original artwork that you would have on the Dangerously Close to Stupid, and they've just got a kind of blue band around the bottom here, which is, I think that's just because the label probably wouldn't fit on the can. This is a 50 centilitre can, by the way, a 500 milliliter. They still seem to be obsessed in Scandinavia with using decilitres and centilitres and stuff instead of just using millilitres. But yeah, nicely presented can, this one. As I said, 9.3% West Coast style double IPA with Citra and Centennial and Pilsner and melanoidin malt. So let's get it out and we will get on with the tasting then. So when you open this beer up, you do get a nice waft of things coming out of it. But yeah, this looks very, very nice. Just be careful with the head there, because this is going to spread a little bit. Yeah, we'll let this calm down a little bit, and then we'll put the rest in a bit later on. But this smells like a lovely, lovely beer, this one. Straight away, as soon as you open this up, you can smell some of these lovely kind of fruity notes there. But yeah, as you can see with this beer, and as you'd expect, this one definitely has a nice bit of that West Coast transparency to it. You can see, if I hold this beer up to the light, this is a lovely kind of light orangey amber colour, this one. It's definitely got a good bit of orange to it. You can see there's 2 and a bit fingers of a frothy white head on this one. I don't think I even really poured that aggressively or anything like that. It must have just been because it's been in the can for a little bit. But you can see, if I put my fingers behind the glass, there is a degree of haze to this beer, but by no means is this a New England IPA. When you hold it up to the light, you do see that there is a good bit of transparency to it. 1 or 2 big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass, and a few little ones just heading up towards the bottom of that head there. But you know, overall it looks pretty damn nice, I have to say. And yeah, like I said, I've heard very good things about this beer. So let's take a closer look at that aroma then, and just see how we get on here. Oh, that smells really nice. Both of the hops in here, the Citra and the Centennial, are doing some really nice things. Centennial, of course, I've always found Centennial gives you this really nice lemony sherbet kind of aroma to the beers, and Citra, of course, everyone knows this, it's mangoes, and you've got all of these other complexities that go with it. So to me, straight up, this beer, it smells really lovely and fruity and juicy, you know. This one is there are some people that use melanoidin malts. This was towards the end of the West Coast kind of craze, if you like, when people were starting to move into the New England IPAs. You know, it was a lot of people were starting to use melanoidin malts and things in their beers. I think Magic Rock in England was one that was really doing that quite a lot, and it really works actually. It adds an interesting perspective to the beer. But I have to admit, I've missed the kind of more bitter and sweeter, the sort of balance between that bitterness and the sweetness that you always got with the West Coast IPAs. I do wish some breweries would get back to doing these West Coast IPAs. And this is one, when I saw this on Glasbanken, I just had to get this because it's one that I've wanted to try for a number of years and just, you know, never got around to it, but then never actually saw it again afterwards. But yeah, This one to me smells really nice. You can pick up, there's a little bit of a kind of caramelly biscuity thing going on there. You can smell that there's a nice smooth bready aspect to this beer as well, which is very, very nice. But a little bit of a biscuity caramelly aroma in there. You can pick up, you've got a nice little bit of a floral aromaticity in there. I do remember that Centennial gives you this nice floral aromaticity to the beer as well. There's some lighter grassy notes in there as well, and you've got all these juicy fruity aromas coming out of the beer also. So yeah, mangoes in there. You can definitely pick out some of the gooseberry and lychee complexities that you'll get from the Citra too, but the lemon sherbet from the Centennial is really nice as well. I'm just trying to get a little bit more of this in. There we go. But yeah, it's got a lovely juicy fruity note to it, this beer. And this is one of these beers, I've got a feeling, I'll make a prediction before I actually taste this one, I've got a feeling that I'm going to say something along the lines of, if you go back to 2013, 2014, this is one of the beers that would absolutely kind of blow you away. It's probably going to be a review along those lines, I would think. But yeah, let's have a taste of this beer and see how we get on. As I always say, take a bit of time and smell the aroma of this one before you get stuck in. Some lovely juicy fruity qualities and lovely balance between a sort of bready malt and the kind of sweeter aspects you'd expect of the West Coast IPAs, and then a little bit of a nice floral aromaticity and grassy side with the green side of the hops as well. But let's get stuck into this one then. This is the Dangerously Close to Stupid, a West Coast double IPA coming in at 9.3% from Toriel in Copenhagen in Denmark. Let's get stuck in. Slange, skål. Yeah. Oh man. This is really quite nice. I have to say I really quite enjoy this beer. I really have missed these IPAs that just have the sweeter backbone to them. And this is really, really nice. They used Pilsner malt in this one, and you do get a degree of crispness to this as well, which is really, really nice. So this one for me, it gets a big thumbs up for Toriel. And as I said, it is definitely a little bit of a nostalgic beer. I'm just going to put the rest of that in there. This is really good. You can pour this about 3 or 4 times. There's even still more in there. But yeah, this is a lovely, lovely beer. This one, it retains its head pretty damn well, I have to say as well, which is nice. If you're a German, you will enjoy this one. Germans always love their beers to retain the heads. But yeah, I really like how this beer goes together. This is just really, really nice. It is, if you went back to 2013, 2014, this is what you would expect from an IPA that you were drinking then. It really just is kind of spot on for that thing back in time. So drinking it now with all the haze craze and things, this is a beer that is a little bit of a nostalgia trip, as I expected it would be. So in the middle of your palate with this one then, you get that nice smooth bready malt base in there. On top of that, you can feel, I've always found the melanoidin malts give the beer, it's almost like you've got a little bit of a kind of slightly waxy coat on your tongue or something like that, and you can just feel the liquid just moves across the top of your tongue. It's as if there's a little gap between the taste buds and the place where the liquid's moving. I always find melanoidin malts give you that little kind of feel to the beer, and it almost just feels like the liquid just passes over a certain part of your tongue a little bit, which is quite interesting. But the further you go into the aftertaste with this beer, I'm finding the malt base gets a little touch grainy, but towards the front of the palate you can feel that sort of crispness aspect that you always get when you use Pilsner malt. Actually, you can feel that this beer is a little bit crisper towards the front of the palate, which is nice. Yeah, and the more you drink of this, the more it kind of sweetens up as well. This is our last little bit. The more that this one sweetens up, it's it's just a really, really beautiful malt base in this one. I really like how that goes together. I think it's been a while actually since I've had a beer that's used melanoidin malts in it, or at least they've not said they've used melanoidin malts. But yeah, in the very centre of your palate you can feel the nice sweeter caramelly biscuity sort of thing, and of course that part of the malt base is what's covering up the alcohol in here. So yeah, lovely smooth bready quality to this one. You can feel a little bit of the kind of slickness, if you like, of the melanoidin malts in there. Further forward on the palate, you're getting some of the lighter kind of crispness that you would expect from the Pilsner malts. And if you go to the very, very centre of your tongue, that's where the caramel, the sort of slightly boozy caramel and the biscuity notes are coming out. If you go to the very centre of your tongue and just come out a little bit, you'll feel the beer get a little bit more gradually biscuity in terms of the brown sugar that's in it. Or the brown sugar flavours, I should say, rather. You haven't actually put brown sugar in this beer. But yeah, the malt base of this is really nice, and I do find that the further you go into the aftertaste with this one, the more it dries up a little bit, and you do get a little touch of an almost graininess to it as well at the back of the palate, but then the Pilsner crispness at the front of your tongue is just kind of sitting there as well, which is really quite nice. The malt base in this one goes together very nicely, and I've missed these West Coast IPAs a hell of a lot. I keep saying that every time I review one. I've only reviewed 4 or 5 over the last couple of months, something like that. But yeah, on the hoppy side of things then, back corners of the palate, there's definitely a little touch of earthiness in there. As you come further forward along the sides of your tongue, you get that nice floral aromatic spiciness. I do remember Centennial having a little bit of a spicy character to it actually, and you can definitely pick that out on the sides of your palate here. You've got a nice little bit of a floral aromatic spice, and then round the very front curve of your palate it's a little bit more lighter and grassy, I would say. But yeah, that's really nice actually. I do like how everything is going together in this beer. They've really pulled this off pretty damn well, I have to say. So well done to Amar Brouwhuis for not Amar Brouwhuis, Toriel for this one. I'm looking at my glass symbol, of course. Amar Brouwhuis, another very good Copenhagen brewery. But well done to Toriel for this one. The fact that you think that this beer, this recipe is around, 5-6 years old, maybe something like that, 2012, 2013. So it's maybe about 7 years old. This is a really pretty damn nice beer, I have to say. So yeah, it really is a damn good one, this. If you like your West Coast IPAs, you are really going to enjoy this. Right, if you go behind the front curve of the palate on your tongue, then that's when you get that nice oily bubble where those juicy fruity esters start to come out of the beer. And with this one, if you go towards the back of that oily bubble, there's a little touch of grapefruit in there, and depending on what you mix Citra with, you will get a little bit of that dark grapefruit flavour in there, and you are getting that in this beer. Come further forward in that and you start to get the nice kind of juicy mangoes in there as well. And the sort of lemony flavours, lemon can be a little touch sour if you like, but the lemony flavours in this one, to me, they have got a little bit of sourness, but they've also got a bit of a juicy quality as well, which is really nice. I always enjoy lemon flavoured things actually, but as you come further forward on the front part of your palate, you really start to pick out the kind of lemony notes in this beer, which is really, really pretty nice actually. This beer is very, very well balanced. It's quite bold, and back in 2013 or whenever this beer was considered very, very bold, but it still has a very nice balance to it these days actually. But yeah, this is a really, really nice one, that. The further you go into the aftertaste as well, you start to get some of the complexities out from the Citra for me. There's not much, there is a little touch of a gooseberry note on the tip of the tongue, but for me it's more about the kind of light cheese and yeah, it's more leaning toward the complexities out of in the Citra hop, and this one are leaning a little bit more towards a sort of lychee flavour for me. There could be a little bit of a sort of limey quality to this one as well, because sometimes you can get a little bit of a limey flavour, well, mainly lemon limey flavour out of Citra too, and but that makes sense if you've got Centennial in there where it's lemon. It really, you can get different things from different hops depending on what malt base they're mixed with or what other hops they're mixed with too. But yeah, I really like how all these different flavours are going together in this one. At the time, this would have been one of these beers where you say, geez, this is an absolute beast, it's an absolutely punchy thing, but the more and more you're drinking craft beer, the more you appreciate things that are quite well balanced. And this beer, while it is bold and it is a bit of a beast at 9.3%, it really does have a good balance in the flavour. So a big thumbs up to Toriel for this one, and it's a bit of a shame actually that it's taken me so long to review this one, because if I'd reviewed this a couple of years ago, I would have been, you know, it would have been one of the beers that would kind of blow your mind, if you like. But it's a beautiful beer, this, and it's really cool to see that they are still continuing to produce this one. So let's move to the mouthfeel then. In terms of the mouthfeel, I would say this beer is pretty mid-bodied. Carbonation's very, very smooth. It's got a big oily mouthfeel, and in my opinion, that's what you want from a West Coast IPA. And make no mistake about this one, by no means is this, it looks a little bit hazy and things like that, but this is definitely a West Coast IPA because it's got that nice sweet backbone to it rather than the kind of creamier backbone and the bitterness. If we talk about the IBUs of this beer, I suspect that this one is looking around sort of 60-ish IBUs, somewhere in that kind of region, maybe actually 70, somewhere between 60 and 70 IBUs for this beer. But yeah, nice big bit of hoppy bitterness there. The floral aromatic spice in this beer is very nice too. But there's a nice smooth malty backbone to this one. It's got a little bit of a kind of sweetness to it as well. And you've also got some really nice juicy fruity esters in this beer also. But yeah, a lovely, lovely double IPA this one. And you know, it's just a shame it's taken me so long to review it. And I definitely won't be reviewing, I won't be leaving 2 years between my Toriel reviews again. I can't believe it was that long. But yeah, the Dangerously Close to Stupid, a double IPA at 9.3%, a West Coast style IPA from Toriel in Copenhagen in Denmark. This is just a lovely, lovely beer, and it definitely takes you back a little bit in time. If I'd reviewed this beer in 2014, 2013, whenever it came out, I'm sure it would have been one that I would be absolutely singing its praise in. Even as it stands, it's a lovely, lovely beer. So yeah, let's just leave it at that for this one. If you get the chance to try this beer, I recommend that you do. If you're missing the West Coast IPAs, this is one that will certainly fill a corner for you, I guess we could say. But yeah, a lovely beer, this one, and I'm really glad that I was able to review it, so I hope you guys have enjoyed my take on this one as well. So once again, thank you for watching my beer reviews. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Let me know your own thoughts on this beer in the comment section below. Let me know what your favourite beers are from Toriel as well, and I'm sure I'll be returning to these guys in the fairly near future. Make sure you check out my social media. Have a look at Glasbanken.se if you're watching from Sweden and you want some interesting Danish, Swedish, Norwegian beers, because you will find some good stuff on there. But check out this beer if you're missing a really good West Coast IPA. But until the next time, it's Sjaelland just now, and I'll catch you guys later. The Dangerously Close to Stupid, a lovely 9.3% West Coast double IPA from Toriel over in Copenhagen in Denmark. Until the next time, Sjaelland just now, and I'll catch you guys later. Sjaelland, skål.